I want you to put the word out there that Sun Devils football is back, baby.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications wherever you're getting your shows. Stay in touch by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Also want to ask a favor. If you have not hit subscribe on YouTube yet, do me that solid, hit subscribe. We are less than 50 followers away from getting to number 1,000. And when we get there, we're going to find a way to celebrate together as a channel. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off of your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in to another victory edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. This time coming to you on a Friday. The Sun Devils were in San Marcos last night, taking on Texas State, a game which, by the way, they were underdogs in. The line was changing throughout the week from FanDuel. I want to say ASU was favored by 3.5 at one point, and ultimately the line favored Texas State by 1.5. ASU covered, and they won 31-28 in a back-and-forth battle in a game where ASU fought their tails off. And every time that Texas State did something, ASU found a way to answer. At no point in time did you feel like this game was over. You sat there and, Texas State just had like a 40-yard touchdown pass. And you're sitting there and you're throwing your swear words. I know I was. But then the next drive started and you go, all right, let's answer. Let's get right back into this game. And somehow, some way, they found a way to do it. And there was all sorts of good things that came out of this game, whether it was a good game from Sam Leavitt or second half adjustments by the defense. There were some bad that came out of the game as well that we'll talk about. We have takeaways and we have game balls to hand out. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the good that came out of this game. First of all, ASU 3-0 for the first time since 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been saying this all offseason, and I will continue to say it. The biggest good that has come out of these games so far is that ASU knows how to win football games. Last year, they just weren't ready for that yet. They were in dogfights with Washington, with Cal, with Oklahoma State, with who was our other really close game with? God, I can't remember off the top of my head. They were in some dogfight. Colorado, that's what it was. Some dogfights last year. And they could have won those games. However, they just weren't there yet. This was a team that was still figuring itself out. They were building an identity. They were rebuilding in a new image under Kenny Dillingham. It happens. Year two, our biggest question, is this team ready to take that step forward? Are they ready to start winning the close games? Pulling it out when you need to pull it out. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what they did in this game. It was a close one from start to finish. And ASU was able to outslug Texas State right up until the end. This game, ASU was down 21-7 at one point. They answered. They tied a game 21-21 at halftime. Texas State, big play in the third quarter. It's 28-21. Eventually, it's 28-28 when ASU was able to tie it up. And then ASU's defense clamped down. You want to talk about second half adjustments. I don't know what Brian Ward said. I don't know if he just said we need to wake the frick up with a different word. I don't know if they drew up a completely different game plan, but whatever they did, it worked. Because after an early big play from Texas State, where it happened and you're sitting there and you were like, God, this is going to be a shootout. Like, I don't know that we are going to be able to keep pace on offense because the defense is just unable to get stops. And then all of a sudden, boom, stops. You get a forced fumble by Shamari Simmons. You get an interception from Xavier Alford. Friend of the podcast, 100-yard landboard, Xavier Alford, by the way. You get a crucial stop on fourth down, courtesy of a breakup from Keith Abney. Suddenly, this defense is stepping up. When you needed them to step up, where they couldn't do it in the first half, they figured it out in the second half. They dug deep within themselves. They found the answers that they didn't have in the first half. It was impressive. It was just a completely different defense that rolled out in the second half. And again, you started off with that drive where Texas State scores, and you're like, crap. We got to score. Like, there's no choice in this game. We have to win this game 45-42. Well, that wasn't the case, because ASU's defense put the clamps on Texas State. They still gave up chunk plays, sure. There were still plenty of plays where Texas State was able to get the broken opportunities and get those chunk yards and convert third and longs. They converted fourth down more than once. It was a difficult game for the defense. But when it came time to be clutch, when it came time to buckle down, they were zoned in. We talked about this last week against Mississippi State. There were 2 drives in the second half of that game that defined the win for ASU. It was ASU's defense forcing a 3-and-out after allowing an 80-yard touchdown pass on the previous drive, and then it was ASU's final drive on offense to put the game away. Tonight, ASU's defense had 3 of those drives where you force 2 turnovers and you force a turnover on downs. When Texas State is rolling on offense, when Texas State is doing everything they can to get back into the scoreboard because ASU was a 3-point lead. First of all, props to Kenny Dillingham for kicking that field goal when he did, because your boy, host of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, Richie Bradshaw, was saying you need to go for it. So that's why I am not calling the plays for Arizona State University, is because I am greedy and I wanted 6. Take the 3, and lo and behold, that's what you won by. They made the adjustments, ladies and gentlemen. This defense did everything they needed to do in the second half. It was phenomenal. It was a masterpiece performance. You're going to look at the box score. You're going to go, wow, they gave up a ton of yards through the air. They got beat up on the ground. You gave up 4 touchdowns through the air. You're absolutely right. They definitely did. But that doesn't tell the full story of the game. It does not tell you how this defense dominated the fourth quarter and made major adjustments in the second half to be able to clamp down a rolling Texas State offense. Next takeaway that I got here, not takeaway, excuse me, the next good that came out of this before we start talking about the bad. And there is a little bit of bad to talk about this week. The Sam Leavitt to Jordan Tyson connection is there. I have been on the boat that Jordan Tyson is wide receiver 1. I have said this for probably the whole year, going back to March. Jordan Tyson is wide receiver 1. He's incredibly talented. He has the gifts that you just don't see from all these other receivers. Like, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He's a playmaker. You put the ball in his hands, he's going to do something with it. He has been the most targeted receiver on this team through the first 2 weeks. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get too much going. I challenged Sam Leavitt and I challenged Jordan Tyson going into this week. I said, we got to get this figured out. You guys are clearly trying to establish a connection. Now let's firmly establish it. And lo and behold, that's what they did. 6 receptions for Jordan Tyson, a whopping 120 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown, by the way, 52 yards out. And it was a pretty throw from Sam Leavitt. There were some other throws that they didn't connect on. Like, Tyson could have easily been 150 yards, maybe more than that. They still not even 100% on the same page. Showed the chemistry that we've been waiting for from quarterback 1 to wide receiver 1. We've been asking for it since the start of the year. Hey, we really want to see Sam have a connection with any receiver. Like, it didn't just have to be Jordan Tyson. This podcast said it was Jordan Tyson, but it could have been anyone. It's Jordan Tyson, ladies and gentlemen. Just like we were hoping here. And it's exciting. with the playmaking ability he has, with the scrambling ability and the downfield throwing ability that Sam Leavitt possesses and is still working on, by the way. Deep ball still not really there yet. They had the big connection, obviously. Like I said, there were still some shots that were missed. There is still room to grow for Sam Leavitt as a deep ball thrower, but this was a really good showing for him. And it was even better because he had that connection with Jordan Tyson, who is not only your wide receiver one, but is also one of your primary deep threats as well. Showing that connection and showing the ability to push the ball down the field was one of the most important tasks that you had going into this game, and you passed with room to be even better, by the way. Last thing, and we already talked about it, so I'm not going to continue to feed a fat horse here. ASU, they are winning close games. You take this game, this ASU Texas State game in San Marcos, put it with last year's team. They're not winning. I promise you they're not winning. They just couldn't do it last year. There was a lot going on, not even just with the football team. There was a lot of noise around the program. It wasn't just the players. It wasn't just the coaches. There were so many things that were playing into the way that this team performed. They just weren't winning this game last year. That's not the case this year. Ladies and gentlemen, they are winning games this year. They are winning tight games. They showed against Mississippi State. They have the grit to be able to stand up when it matters most, and they doubled down this week against Texas State. These are two teams that matched up very well against ASU, and ASU came out on top, and now they're 3-0. Of course, this wasn't a perfect win, and there's stuff that we're going to break down here in just a moment for the bad that came out of this game. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because the eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Also want to talk to you about our friends over at LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to make sure that you get quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you need to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. They help you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but may be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users do not visit other job leading sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses will get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and may not have the time or resources to hire. That's why LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make that process even easier and just launched a feature to help write job descriptions, making that process easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Wherever you get your shows, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Let's go ahead and get back into our conversation about ASU's win over Texas State. We got to talk about some of the bad. This wasn't a perfect win, and there was definitely some stuff that ASU really needs to work on, especially now that they enter conference play. You're 3-0, you're riding high, the vibes are immaculate, the Valley is activated. This team has swagger, they have confidence that they haven't had in years. they still need to make sure that these get cleaned up moving forward. Because now you go into conference play. And it's not an easy start. You are going to Lubbock, Texas to play Texas Tech, who is up and down. They have a really good offense. They have a really bad defense. This is a situation that ASU is going to need to find a way, similar to Texas State, to put the clamps on the offense, the Texas Tech offense, that is, when they need to. And Sam Leavitt is going to need to help ASU stay efficient on offense and score points, which we have seen he is capable of doing. The biggest issue that I had from this game, there was a lot of big plays. There was a lot of big plays. And it cannot happen. Texas State is a really good football team and a team that has dominated on offense through their first 3 games of the year. There's a reason they are a heavyweight in the Sun Belt Conference this year. They are going to be one of the better G5 teams in college football this year. So it's not like ASU was going up against a nobody. But I don't care who you're going up against. I don't care if it's Alabama. I don't care if it's an FCS team. ASU was letting up way too many big plays in this game. 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards. They were allowing 3rd and long conversions. They were allowing 4th down conversions. It was bad. And again, like we talked about in the good, they made adjustments in the second half. But in the first half, the first 2 touchdowns Texas State had were wide open. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just the quarterback making a really good read against his own defense. I don't know if it was ASU blowing coverage. Maybe it was a mix of both. Because their quarterback at Texas State, Jordan McLeod, had no issues dicing up this defense. 29 of 44 on the day, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception towards the end of the game. It wasn't to end the game, but it was towards the end of the game. This was a really good performance for a G5 quarterback against a Power 4 defense. And a Power 4 defense, mind you, that has looked sharp through their first 2 games. ASU knew that they were up against a really good team. That nonetheless doesn't mean that you can be allowing the amount of big plays that they were allowing. Like I said, I don't care if it's an FCS team. I don't care if it's Bama. I don't care if it's Georgia. I don't care if it's Texas. I don't care who it is. You've got to clean that up. You have got to clean that up. Because when you do start playing the big name teams in the conference, when you play Utah, when you play Kansas State, when you play Oklahoma State, they're going to kill you. They're going to run you over with a more talented roster. And then ASU's offense is really going to be trying to play catch up. And they did a good job in this game. Are they going to be able to do a good job when they're losing to Oklahoma State or when they're losing to Utah? That's a huge question that you have right now. The offensive line was also a problem in this game. Sam Leavitt was under a lot of pressure. He was sacked 3 times. He might have been sacked 4 times in this game. It was not a pretty sight for this offensive line. 3 sacks. He was under duress a lot, and there was a lot of pressure. Texas State also went in with a singular goal of eliminating Cameron Scadaboo from this game plan. And for the most part, they did that. 24 carries for 62 yards. 2.6 yards per carry after Scadaboo ran for 262 yards the week before. 200 yards less than he had the week before. Only 9 less carries. Now, he did score twice, including the put-away drive. He also had the game-sealing touchdown, or not touchdown, game-sealing run to ultimately give ASU the final first down of the game. They still were really able to limit the run game. Sam Leavitt had 11 carries for 40 yards. That included a 40-yard long. That's how bad the pass protection was. They were not able to consistently provide a solid pocket for Sam Leavitt. Now, granted, Leavitt was stepping into pressure. It's not like he was completely innocent in this game. There is work to be done from him too. But this offensive line was a problem in this game. We just need to call it as it is. And the thing that I have an issue with is it's a talented offensive line. So maybe it was just a bad game. Maybe it was just a bad game. However, the first 3 games, the offensive tackle play hasn't been great. There's a lot of room for improvement from this offensive line. And now that you are done with conference play or out of conference play and you're going into conference play, you got some stuff to figure out. And you need to figure it out quick because you play the 5 best teams in this conference this year. And 3 of them are on the road. You need to figure out really quick how to tighten up this offensive line. Last thing I want to mention, when Cameron Scadaboo is off, the offense sputters a little bit. Now, I say a little bit because Sam Leavitt really stepped up in this game. He went 29 of 30 for 246 yards, a touchdown through the air, a touchdown on the ground, a frustrating interception. He overthrew Marqueston Douglas, and the ball was tipped into the safety's hands. Although, admittedly, I think Douglas tipping that ball made it so the safety had to dive for the ball, and then he's down immediately. I think if that ball just sails, the safety probably just picks it off and has some room to run. It wasn't a perfect night, but it was a good night, especially when you consider that Scadaboo was pretty much eliminated from the game plan as far as efficiency goes. Obviously, you give him 24 carries, he's still a hefty part of the game plan, but the efficiency was not there. And Texas State absolutely sold out to stop him, and they should have, coming off of a 262-yard rushing performance. ASU had some ups and downs, and when Scadaboo wasn't going, this offense had a lot of questions to answer. Granted, they did answer some of those questions. The one thing I want to keep an eye out for is moving forward when Scadaboo is game planned against and future teams they play try to eliminate him. Can Sam Leavitt do this on a consistent basis? Can he continue creating that chemistry with Jordan Tyson to establish that number 1 target and get this offense to the next level? That's my question. That's where I'm curious if Sam Leavitt is ready for the next time a defense decides to take Cameron Scadaboo out of this game. They showed it in this game. Hopefully that'll be a sign of things to come. We got some takeaways before we end this show. I only have 3 takeaways. I only have 2 takeaways this time, but we got some game balls to hand out too for Sun Devils victory. So that's coming up next on this edition of the podcast. You're listening to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to a menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious and great tasting meals. Make today the day that you kickstart that healthy routine. What are you waiting for? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons that you can choose every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. You can crush those wellness goals with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients you can trust. Make your day delicious from breakfast to dessert. Stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. You can treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, no prepping, no cooking, no cleanup. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. You can choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage your calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/lockedoncollege and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code LOCKEDONCollege at factormeals.com/lockedoncollege to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I want to talk to you guys about home field as well. Home field is the place to go if you are trying to get vintage, outstanding material, different stuff, shirts, hats, memorabilia, coaches' jackets, all sorts of good stuff. They have their Can't Miss Kickoff 2024 campaign where they are launching all sorts of premium, comfortable, officially licensed apparel with vintage college designs that cover more than 180 schools and counting. So even if you're looking for someone else, like they're a Michigan State fan, they're an Oregon fan, whatever, there's a good chance that Home Field Apparel has them. It's products that are made by college football fans for the college football fan. If you check out their Can't Miss Kickoff 2024 campaign, it features items like football boxes, coaches' jackets, bomber jackets, and more. The football box contains 3 never-before-seen items for your school that aren't available anywhere else. Curated, so fans have new gear to wear all season long and suitable for all weather conditions, whether that's burning hot outside or it's freezing cold. Now is the best time to get in on Home Field Apparel too, and you can use my personal promo code, ASU24, for 15% off your first purchase. Go to homefieldapparel.com and take advantage of all the great merchandise for Arizona State and other schools as well. Be prepared like nobody else with Home Field Apparel. Use promo code ASU24 for 15% off your order. One last time, wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Let's wrap it up with 2 takeaways and 4 game balls plus an honorable mention. I cheated a little bit. 2 biggest takeaways, both on offense. Although, shout out to the defense who showed that they can make second half adjustments. The biggest takeaways, both on offense. 1, Sam Leavitt can, in fact, be the guy. He made big throws tonight. He made big runs tonight. He stepped up when you needed him to. Sure, there were bad sacks he took. There were bad throws he made. He threw a pick. But he was gaming in this game. When you needed him the most, Leavitt stood up. He stood up. He said, I'm that guy, pal. I am Timothy Chalamet. And he got the job done. 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. Fun fact, that was one of my bold predictions on the game day preview of the podcast. If you want to go back and see what my other predictions were, go ahead and check it out. Highly recommend. It's always a good time. He was good. He was good. There's stuff to work on, but he was good. Next takeaway, final takeaway, if we don't include the defense, Jordan Tyson is wide receiver 1. Jordan Tyson is wide receiver 1. We've speculated for a long time who it's going to be. It's Tyson. He's been the most targeted receiver through 3 weeks now. He exploded in this game. 6 catches, 120 yards, and a score. He still had opportunities on missed passes. Just didn't have a chance to connect on them where he could have had even more damage. Him and Leavitt have something going on. And if Leavitt continues to improve his downfield accuracy, watch out, because Tyson is going to be the player that the Locked On Sun Devils podcast has hyped him up to be for over a year now. Let's hand out some game balls. First of all, quick honorable mention, Cameron Scadaboo. Look, you can't not mention him, especially because he helped put the game away. It just wasn't the most impressive performance. 2 touchdowns, though. I mean, those proved to be super critical for the team. So, shout out Cameron Scadaboo for sure. I just got to give the 2 game balls on offense to the guys who've been talking about, Sam Leavitt, Jordan Tyson. Sam Leavitt, phenomenal. Jordan Tyson, big breakout game. Already talked about him enough. There's 2 game balls there. Defense, 2 game balls. First of all, Shamari Simmons. I'll make this statement right now. Shamari Simmons might be the best player on the Sun Devils right now. He is playing out of his mind. He is flying around the field. Since they started moving him around the defense, taking him not just from free safety and center field, but playing him near the line of scrimmage in a nickel role. He's everywhere. And he's laying the boom. He absolutely laid out a Texas State receiver in I think it was the first quarter of the game. Later on, he's flying around the field. He is making tackles everywhere. He ends the game with, how many tackles he had? 7 tackles, 3 solo, 4 assists. He had a critical forced fumble that ended up really benefiting Arizona State. I'm pretty sure they got their field goal off of that drive. That would ultimately put them ahead. But that was part of that stand in the fourth quarter that really put the ASU defense on top and showed that, yeah, we made second half adjustments and we are going to ball out and it's going to be all about us now. Shamari Simmons is playing at a ridiculously high level right now. He might seriously be the best player on either side of the football for the Sun Devils. The stats, it's a lot of tackles. It's a forced fumble. It's nothing too crazy. If you watch the game, all you see is number 7. All you see is this dude flying around the defense. He is the most consistent player they have. And keep in mind, there's some pretty good players on that defense. Shamari Simmons, he's playing on another level. Absolutely one of my game balls. Second game ball for the defense. Final game ball for this game. I had to be biased. There's no way I couldn't do it. Friend of the podcast, Xavier Alford, getting his first interception with ASU. It was special, man. For such a down-to-earth young man, someone who, if you have not checked out my interviews with him on the show, I highly encourage it. Because if he wasn't easy enough to cheer for already, getting to sit down with him, it's a treat. This is someone who has been through a lot of adversity. He went over 1,000 days without taking a snap on the football field because of injuries, because of NCAA stuff. He's back. He's playing at a high level as well. The safety trio between Simmons, Alford, and Miles Ghost Rouser has been terrific for the Sun Devils. Alford, he looked so comfortable tonight. 7 tackles, including an interception where he was just playing center field, man. Like it was easy for him. He just is able to undercut the route and boom, it's all his. It looked like he's been playing football for 5 straight years, the way that he has started the season. He's put it on himself to have that accountability. It is showing on the field. Without question, Xavier Alford, one of the biggest standouts for the Sun Devils this season, absolutely gets my last game ball here. Part of it biased, absolutely can own that. More than anything, he delivered a critical turnover when you needed it to, and similar to Shamari Simmons, made that statement in the second half that the Sun Devils defense came to play. What did you guys think of this win? How big is this win? How excited are you for Sun Devils football? Are the Sun Devils back? Ladies and gentlemen, is Arizona State back? They're 3-0 with 3 really good wins. Heading into conference play, how confident are you in this program? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter at Richie Bradshaw36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. Stay in touch by following me on Twitter. I think I already shouted this out at Richie Bradshaw36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day, but a special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. I'll see you guys again on Monday. We will be doing our grades for this win. We're going to go through each position, offense and defense. We're going to take a look at the coaches. We're going to grade them from 0 to 100, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all that good stuff. I'll see you Monday. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On